here today to introduce to you guys a very amazing man. It's been just a short amount of time that I've gotten to know him. His experience in the industry is the depth of his knowledge, the companies that he's been a part of, the things that he has done is truly astounding. And we couldn't be more lucky to have someone like him at the head of the ship leading this charge. When you look at a company that's going into an uncharted territory, into a new market, into a new space, you need someone with the vision to take you there, the experience from the past, and he has both of those things. And we're so lucky to have him as a part of this platform, leading us into a global marketplace for the first time. So Rod, thank you so much for joining us. This is our CEO.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I really appreciate you hosting this morning and appreciate you participating with us in these snapshots. It's very, very important that we are able to share the message worldwide. All right, so let me go through this. I want to really say again, thank you, Stacy, and want to give a shout out to my partners who are both taking a break off today. Both Nick Sarnicola, our president, an amazing man, a great father, and out there taking care of some father duties this morning. And also want to say hello to Ron Williams, our Chief Visionary Officer, also out doing some father duties. He may be tagging into us here in the call. So if you're listening, Ron, we welcome you, and hopefully I can do it right for you today. I'm so grateful to have each of you here joining us this morning. We're going to talk about something. You're here because you were invited by somebody who thought that it was important for you to see what we're working on together. And it is an important opportunity for you. What we're talking about is so revolutionary, so new, that I do believe that it's the birth of a new opportunity, a birth of a new industry even. We're going to talk about commerce, e-commerce in specifics, but decentralized commerce. And I want to show you exactly what we mean by that as we go through a little presentation here. This isn't designed to be a snapshot, actually just a very brief conversation to talk about the state of e-commerce today and what are the trends that are occurring today that give us all an opportunity that has never been seen before and allows us to set up and be one of the very first companies, if not the only company, to be able to do this for some time. Let's talk about the state of affairs for commerce as it currently exists. So for the sake of our discussions today, we'll consider commerce, e-commerce specifically, to be physical products. That is, those types of products that you might buy on the web from an e-commerce platform. Anything from food to computer needs to jewelry, watches, shoes, baby goods, clothing, supplements, great products, the things that you would like to buy yourself at any given time from whatever platform you might usually or traditionally shop from. So e-commerce physical products is a big part of what's going on in the world right now, as we all know. Digital products are also critically important because there is an ever increasing trend line that says physically based or brick and mortar education is being driven down by the drive for a consumer to simply learn at home and learn directly from professionals in micro courses, those things which are most interesting to them for them to be able to take advantage of it in their lives. The time frame and the era where education needs to happen at a collegiate level or an organized school level is starting to dwindle. The expense of maintaining that, the expense of maintaining all the operations for schools, and everything that limits the efficiencies of that is driving education online. So digital products, course creators, content that gives us inspiration, education, direction in our life is all being driven towards the web. That is a huge drive. It's over $140 billion estimated to be in 2025. So this is a huge move. Now let's also combine what we already know about e-commerce as it sits right now. So most of the vendors that exist sit on a platform, and the platform owns the relationship with those vendors. And then social media influencers or affiliates have to go and create a relationship directly, usually with a vendor or with an affiliate-based platform. So both of these are separated out into different ownership pieces, but generally speaking, owned by the e-commerce platform. Now, the world that we have all operated in for a number of years, and for myself, nearly 30 years, is a world where we focus on building teams of distribution for really incredible products and services. And that the team building aspect is also being affected. And there are very interesting trend lines that we will talk about today relative to team building. And then the last point that I want to talk about, which is very new to this industry, to both sides of this, is an opportunity for business development. There are many of us here on this call and many of us in the ecosystem of Shoply already that are very adept at business development. And they also know what products interest them, and they're interested directly in talking to that vendor and bringing them onto the platform. So we're going to discuss all of these opportunities. So let's talk for a minute about some of the challenges that create the trend line that tells us we're headed in the right direction. Let's focus first on team builders. As a team builder out there, any one of you out there that's an experienced team builder have been invited to this call by somebody else, generally speaking, who is also an experienced team builder. You would know that over the last 3 to 5 years, our industry, since COVID ended, has been on a steady decline, sometimes near 15 to 16%, standardized in some cases a little bit more, and regionally higher, depending on the economies of specific regions. So the trend line for our industry is going down. So if you look on the right side there, you can see that the market share is going down, and it also means that there are other opportunities, so even just as simple as driving Uber or Lyft or doing something in the gig economy right now. So that gives some people an option to make extra money, right? So these things are causing a depression on the industry, of course, because the industry goes down. The challenge of making products successfully with margin and commission that are really incredible products, very premium, exciting products, that is getting much more difficult. The pipeline for raw materials and packaging, et cetera, all of these things are getting squeezed and have been squeezed since the COVID era, and they are not going down. Typically in a market, when there is an opportunity, whether it's a good opportunity or a sad opportunity like the COVID pandemic was, whatever happens, when the prices get driven up, they don't generally have the elasticity to come back down. So the prices and costs of goods have stayed high, which has driven, of course, the margins for commission for representing those products down, which means earning money within that space of team building and distribution from direct distribution opportunities has become tighter and tighter and tighter. And then the last thing, it's a very interesting phenomenon. Because of the rise and the increased rise of social media, the ability to talk to somebody on the other side of the world is no longer 6 degrees of separation, but rather it's now 3 degrees or perhaps even less, which means I could connect through Stacy and through Stacy into somebody on the other side of the world, probably with 2 connections. So what is happening is people are seeing me talk about one product, the same product on Tuesday as I talk about next Thursday, and there is product fatigue because of the 3 degrees or fewer degrees of separation. So the redundancy of the discussion about a single product or maybe two products is giving fatigue, right? So when we look at this, these create all sorts of trends and opportunities for us that we want to help you capitalize on together with us. Let's talk about what it is like right now to be an influencer. You know, the world of influencer or affiliate marketing has been on the rise in most places in the world. In fact, it is the #1 job search in many regions, not the least of which is greater Asia, Southeast Asia, greater China, and also amongst the young generation, the anyone between the age of even not even just 18, but from 18 to 30, yes, for sure. But now we have influencers and affiliates starting at young ages like 9 and 10, making thousands of dollars, if not more, on a monthly basis. And in some instances, never showing their face because they're adept at using artificial intelligence to create an avatar to tell the story that they have scripted about a product that they don't touch, about an opportunity that they never see, which they promote. And because they're so good at it, they have a following. Let's talk about the influencer world as it relates to nano, micro, and mega influencers. You know, for much of our existence in social media, we're used to seeing mega influencers, even super influencers, names and brands that you would know. Typically, these are movie stars, TV stars, athletes, or individuals that just simply have a really good knack at driving content that drives people to follow them. A mega influencer or a super influencer might tend to have 100,000 or more followers, in some cases, 1 million or more followers. There's certainly mega influencers out there with multiple millions of followers. But the ability to get your followers level up to that amount is a very, very steep climb, right? It takes a lot of expertise and a lot of initial followers and the ability to drive interesting content in collaboration with products. We believe that everybody on this Zoom and everybody that is a member of Shoply can become that. But for the time being, we absolutely value the nano influencer. A nano influencer is somebody that has 500 to 1,000 followers. And we believe that the collective body of nano influencers is more powerful than a single mega influencer. That is where we partner with you, because we will crowdsource together with you every aspect of what is going on in Shoply. So let's talk about the influencer challenges. Even though you have mega influencers out there, large scale influencers, even influencers that are maybe what you might call macro, which would be somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 or more in followers on social media, they are having their incentives constricted. Why? Because for them to get a deal, typically they have to go directly to a vendor, and then the vendor has to pay them money to do it. And then they only get one instance or one return on the hit or the creation of a customer. And then when they get a little bit of traction and people see that it's really exciting in terms of other influencers, often those other influencers will go to the same vendor, create a similar relationship, almost in a copycat method, and that then drives down the effectiveness of any one influencer, right? So there are tens of thousands of smaller influencers and a few thousand, even a few hundred mega influencers, and all of their opportunities are being tightened and they're being copycatted, et cetera. So this is the industry as it sits right now. Again, we believe very strongly in the nano and the micro influencer, because collectively, as an overall unit, as a body together, we will be much more powerful than any one. Okay, so let's talk about what does it mean to become an expert so that you can expand your skill set from wherever you sit today. It's, you know, it's an infinity world, right? We can all get a little bit better, and some of us could get a lot better. And so we want to make sure that you have access to world class, not just fuzzy discussions and this might be nice and, you know, let's clap together type discussions where it's just, there's no real meat to it. This is world-class instruction of know-how and examples on how to use AI, for example, to enhance your brand, to create an avatar, to take an image of something, create a very simple script, use an avatar that's not even you to tell that script and post that, send that out in a straight text, send that out on social media. Using AI these days, if you don't know how to use AI, if you're not being instructed, and not just instructed once, but up to speed on the tech and the new plugins and the new opportunities, because it's such a rapidly expanding market, we believe that this is part and parcel to our mutual success. As part of that, you want to build your brand. You always want to improve your ability as an influencer to get better and better and better at being on screen, at talking to people, about creating content that is engaging. All of these things are important. One of the massive trends right now in influencing and affiliate work is unboxing and live commerce. The ability to get a box from a vendor, open it up, share the excitement of what you've just received, talk about the product and share that content with even a small group of followers has extraordinary power. We want you to learn how to do that and do it well. So as you look at the screen here, I want you to know that if I were to share the names of the leaders that we're actually working with, you know many of them because we've had them on the screen, but there's some that we're keeping secret because the experience that we want you to have is so extraordinary that when you see some of these new team building and leadership and entrepreneurial mindset trainers, I think you're going to be blown away that we're able at this early stage, even because of the vision we have together collectively at Shoply to engage these types of brands. So getting expert training is absolutely critical to what we're doing. And in fact, at the early stages of Shoply, this will be the main mantra for what we're doing. We will be training everybody because everyone will receive free included parts of this training so that you can have modules starting with beginning advanced and professional level on each one of these topics. We want to make sure that we get training embedded directly into our culture early as we start to then onboard beta and initial vendors. So I think it's an exciting time for you. So let's talk now about vendor challenges. This is really, really critical. I mentioned already the tightening up of the pipeline for raw materials and goods to manufacture products. As a vendor, if you are manufacturing a product, if you have the concept in your mind to create a new supplement, for example, you have to be able to think far enough ahead to say, this formulation and this new supplement that I want to create will require this raw material, this raw material, this raw material. In many instances, vendors would have to go find a manufacturer and then create the formulation, get the pipeline filled of the raw materials, proceed forward with manufacturing. And it may take 6 months, even a year, before they can even sell the first product. In a year's time, the economies of the world can change, the value proposition behind a specific product can change. And so the timeliness that a vendor has to match up to keep themselves relevant is very, very difficult. In a moment, I'm going to describe to you why at Shopley we have extraordinary services from our parent company, LaCour Enterprises, that would help some of these vendors potentially accelerate their path and their plan for new products and services, or just for logistical help. I'll discuss that in a minute. As it relates to the creation of the product, as I've mentioned, it's very difficult to have the foresight and the elasticity in mind to make that happen. But then once you have a product, how do you sell it? How do you create a network? How do you drive engagement? How do you find affiliates? Well, the current model that seems to be out there is that companies might go to just a straight affiliate network. The affiliate network does nothing more than create the relationship with that vendor and plug them in with some of the affiliates that they have. But most of those affiliate networks only, in fact, I don't know of any that have any attribution past one level. They may have a customer attribution model, which says if somebody clicks on it and forwards a click to a potential customer, there's a rewards point attribution, but there is not attribution in depth. I'm going to use that terminology very frequently in discussions, attribution in depth. I also use the acronym AID because we believe that we can give great aid to the vendors because we have the expertise in providing attribution in depth. That's because in a direct selling world, we've been doing this for decades. We can give attribution down in innumerable levels, right? So being able to launch a sales force as a vendor through their own people, through their own customers that they could bring on as customers to Shopley and in fact turn them into affiliates themselves. And they can drive customer acquisition through the Shopley model and have attribution in depth all the way down to whatever level of creation of relationships that could occur. That has not been done before, ever in e-commerce. So that expertise is one of the things that sets us apart. As a vendor, one of the first things you want to know when you're strategizing on a product is what will it cost me to acquire a customer, and how long will that customer be with me and make continual purchases of my one product or my 20 products or my 100 products. The cost of acquisition in e-commerce platforms is extraordinarily high. The less common the content or the product, the higher the cost of acquisition. But generally speaking, the cost of acquisition for something as simple as a set of shoes or a piece of clothing could be $60, $70, $100 for the first purchase. That means that in order for them to acquire you through their current model of trying to find an affiliate to promote the product or buying ad space on Facebook or in Amazon or on the platform that they might currently be trying to sell on, that expense is very high. So acquiring customers, the cost of acquisition is extraordinary. So we want to make sure that we help all of our vendors come on and understand that once they are on the platform, their cost of acquisition is 100% controlled by them, because vendors control how much commission they want to give and who they want to give it to. As a platform, we do not take any commission dollars. Every commission dollar that the vendor wants to give, wants to provide to the sales channel is up to them to choose. We want them to choose at least 20% to make sure that the affiliate, the person that actually makes the sale, whether that is an influencer pro, or an affiliate, that person makes 20% of whatever the commissions are that the vendor wants to give. The vendor could choose to give only 20% to that person and 80% to the tree of individuals, the community of individuals that brought the influencer, brought the affiliate, brought the customer that referred the product. So they could say 80% goes to that community and 20% only goes to the affiliate, or they could flip it and they could say 20% goes to the community and 80% goes to the affiliate or person who makes the sale. It's entirely up to the vendor, and every vendor will have a different perspective. And from time to time, they will have a different perspective on this product this month, and it may change a little bit next month if they're trying to do customer acquisition. As a leadership group in here that has vast experience in team building, we absolutely recognize that one of your strategies must be to find vendors yourselves or to understand the vendors on Shoply that present an anchor product opportunity for you. That would be a consistent high margin for you and your teams to promote on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. And also then to find the other interesting products and services that you think are of interest to the people in your organization that you might have as a referral basis in your social media organization. So these are the challenges for a vendor, right? And so when you consider the vendor challenges, the team building challenges, the challenges to be an expert in social media and in influencing and in affiliate, all of these things collide as trend paths that make Shoply a remarkable opportunity. Now, as we're out there and we're talking to people in this whisper campaign, because we're not even launching until the 15th of this month, it's now August, the 15th of August. So when we're talking to people, they say, you know, that sounds a lot like this platform or this platform. What makes it different from that platform? And we've heard a handful of other platforms out there, and we're not here to disparage any other platforms or e-commerce in general. In fact, were it not for the evolutions of e-commerce, we would not be in the opportunity we are in to have a very unique one chance in the world opportunity to participate in something that is so deep. Remember, we are crowdsourcing every aspect of what we do at Shoply through you. That means every vendor, every influencer, every influencer pro, every affiliate, and every customer comes directly through you. And we can do all of that because we have the background in formulation, manufacturing if somebody needs it, if a vendor needs it, certainly logistics if a vendor wants our company, which has vendors, we have warehousing on 4 continents and vast networks of 3PLs and 4PLs. That means third-party logistics, fourth-party logistics companies. We have that network in place, which means we can serve as a service provider also to vendors. Legal, that's very important. We own the bank. We are the bank. We own our own merchant account processing platform, which means that whenever we have an issue with a specific vendor for whatever reason, if they fall out of compliance, we aren't held accountable as an overall platform, but rather we can unplug a vendor, set them aside to correct the issues and bring them back if we can, or else just unplug them and say that's not for us, right? Because we have the ability to do that because we control the bank. So let's look at these 4 or 5 things that you need to understand as differentiating facts here. The first one, which is not listed, that I can't see here, is do they own the bank? That is so critical, I can't really even explain how critical that is. In this world of credit cards, digital payments, and crypto, having that bandwidth and having that ability to control the transaction is absolutely critical, okay? Does this platform you're looking at only have products or only have digital or only have perhaps services, or are they able to do all of them under one umbrella? Shoply is able to do that. Can a vendor come on with a product, become a vendor, also become an influencer, and then bring their own affiliates in and launch their own channel and participate with us while we're driving affiliates to them? I don't believe there's any other platform that allows them to do that. I've yet to see one, let's put it that way. Are they truly international? This is a really important point. As huge as some of these major brands are, it'd be interesting for you to realize that, for example, Amazon gets about 78% of all of their revenue from 4 markets: the United States, the UK, Germany, and Japan. Yes, they are growing in other places around the world, but if you look at a map of their actual physical locations for distribution, it is extraordinarily regional. And there are essentially whole continents that are unserved, right? Unserved by that huge brand. And that's just one example. The same thing would be true with Mercado Libre, with Alibaba, with Flipkart. Most of them, Auto, they're all regional, right? They're mostly regional. Part of that comes down to the fact that the vendors, they're not crowdsourcing a vendor. So the vendor that exists in Africa does not have an opportunity to sell into Europe, right? Because they don't have the ability to do that within the platform. So we have the opportunity for that vendor to sell in Africa. We can help them get products registered into Europe and help them get them for sale in Europe or the Middle East or in Asia or whatever. Another very important thing, two last points to make here, is this vendor or is this opportunity that someone is comparing Shoply to, is it really just kind of a product graveyard? But what do we mean by that? There's a lot of products that get pushed out, especially in our channels of direct distribution, that end up being challenged products or companies having issues or whatever. And sometimes those companies just fold into other scenarios. And so we don't mean, of course, to disparage those situations. We want those companies to be, to enjoy success. We think there's a big, broad world out there, but we don't want our product line, and where our product line is not intended and not going this direction. I can tell you from all the business development discussions that I've had that we want to have very fresh, intuitive, new face products, and that's what we're getting involved with right now. The last time I was on one of these snapshots, I read a long list of the products, and I'll just do a few verbally right now, just from memory. And I will tell you that we're having extraordinary experience with things as simple as coffee, supplements, baby products, baby food, even snacks, protein bars, services. I mean, the list is really broad. I think I'm to the point now where I've got 40 or 50 of vendors, at least that many minimum, that would like to be the beta vendors for us to come on. So we're working through to sort that right now, and information is coming out actually today and tomorrow and early in the week about how vendors can get to the lineup, right? To get lined up to become beta or right thereafter be onto the platform early. Last thing I'll share with you before I go to the last slide would be, is there a business development opportunity? Is there an opportunity more than just an affiliate opportunity associated with the platform? With us, this is an extraordinarily critical difference. Every single influencer pro in our company has the ability to create a relationship with a vendor in their home country, in their home region, that could be an exciting vendor to be on the platform. When they create that relationship with that vendor, whoever that influencer pro is, has earned a right to get an override on every transaction that happens with that vendor, whether it's in their team of influence or not. Anywhere on the platform a sale happens, the person who does the business development for that vendor develops that vendor into a Shoply vendor, they get an override. There is no other platform that does that. So these are the 5 differentiators plus one that says we are the bank. It's absolutely critical, okay? So next steps, this is a snapshot. Snapshots for us are very quick descriptions about what we do and what the opportunity is. These snapshots will continue every day for Europe, every evening for the United States. We'll be engaging now in snapshots for Asia. As we've begun this Whisper campaign, we're now in more than 100 countries. I think I heard the other day that it was 117 countries. So we've got tens and tens of thousands of people who've accepted invites in excitement to bring vendors, to become influencer pros, to drive the organization. So here's what happens. We're not working towards vendors at a critical step yet. What will happen eventually, I'd like to illuminate it in your mind. As we mature just a little bit more as a company, it will be a fairly automated process for you to introduce a vendor in your country or in your region. As simple as taking the link that has your ID embedded into it, sending it to a vendor, having the vendor go through some informational processes. As they mature, then you can help them get guided through the process of saying, okay, here's the contract, here's what I do. And once that happens, it's a self-guided tour for that vendor and they proceed forward. Your job is simply to introduce them and progress them to the point where they accept it and want to move forward. And after that, it's automated. That's what we're working towards. Right now in the beta phase, we'll be hand-holding several vendors as we get going. As it sits right now, you can tell on the screen, we are still in the whisper campaign. We are pushing out invitations. All of you that have already accepted an invitation, have invitations in a dashboard that you can send out right now. And the idea is to work in multiplication, to get one person to accept an invite and to give them 10 invites, and give those people to accept an invite and get 10 invites, to really grow this out exponentially way before we launch, okay? What we're looking for in terms of people you should send invites to, and then invite them to a snapshot. We want people that have made a significant amount of money a year, that know how to make it in the industry of direct distribution. But we also we want people who are influential community leaders. They don't have to have been in our business or in our industry before, because this is so fresh and new that it will attract many people who have never perhaps before tried network marketing. It's such an amazing opportunity, such a modern, forward-thinking opportunity. We do want people that are social media influencers and people that have made a full-time living in that or in direct distribution. So what do? You bring them in, you give them an invite, you equip them once they accept the invite with other invites, and you train into attending every snapshot. Now, we've already passed the past date, which is the 23rd. The next date for you to understand is the 15th of August. That is when everybody who's received and accepted an invite will have the opportunity to enroll, right? Or an upgrade from a free invite to join into the Shoply ecosystem. They have lots of options. They can join as an influencer pro, as an influencer, or even as an affiliate. We want them to make a good choice on how they do that. And we want them to understand the long-term example. One-time license, monthly subscriptions, very, very reasonable and an exciting opportunity. So my name is Rod Larson. I've been ecstatic to be here with you. I don't get a chance to join on the European snapshot every time, and so it's a true blessing for me. I happen to be married to a European, and I spent a lot of time in Europe. So for me, it's a super special opportunity. I want to say thank you, Kiitos, vielen Dank, merci to all of you that have joined us. We're really, really excited to be with you and take this trip with you. So for the sake of your time, I say thank you. And for your vision, I'm excited to work with you. Rod Larson, I'm out. Talk to you soon.